Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
This is the most consequential time in history of politics. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to present e-petition 4701, the highest signed e-petition in Canadian history with 387,487. Go outside. Go outside and talk to somebody.
So when you bring your wheat in, for example, and you dry the wheat, boom, carbon tax. And then when we truck the wheat to the elevator, carbon tax. And then when the elevator trucks it to the mill, there's another carbon tax to make the flour. And then when it goes to make the bread, there's another carbon tax. And the freaking loaf of bread has to have wrapped in something. There's carbon tax on that. Then it has to get to the warehouse, another carbon tax on the fuel, for example, and on until it gets to your grocery store shelf, which is put a loaf of bread up by, I forget how many percent it's gone up in the last.
75% is one of the readings I heard in 2022.
Incredible. That's an incredible number.
It's wild when people are trying to just feed their families.
Yes, and everything we do has carbon tax on it.
Food is so unaffordable that 50 active serving military families from CFB Gagetown are using the Oro-Muckville Food Bank. This is outrageous, it is shocking, and it is unacceptable. Right. So, for the 100th time, on behalf of all the Canadians and 70% of the premiers in this country, will they spike the hike, axe the tax, and make food more affordable? Yeah! 93-year-old Liz Diachin, who will have to pay $40,000 in capital gains because she's trying to gift her grandson and daughter land, has a message for the Prime Minister. She's not rich. She doesn't have $40,000 extra dollars. She's trying to help her family, and she would like to know which bank would lend a 93-year-old $40,000.
I think it's important to recognize that, with the $6 billion, the single largest budget item that we put forward in this budget is going to significantly close the poverty gap.
I think what we've seen here today is the minister answer every single question with the same response. The homeless rate under this Prime Minister is astronomical because the highest record usage of food bank is happening under this Prime Minister. So to come in here and to tell people you've done this first ever announcement, it's wonderful. You might as well go be the Maple Leafs coach and tell them that effort was great.
Okay, outside of the House of Commons, just spoke on natural health products. Blaine Calkins put forward a private member's bill to ensure that this industry stays alive so that you can access your vitamins, your minerals, your probiotics. Crazy town that we actually have a government, the Liberals, who want to take this away from Canadians. More government overreach. I have Jules Gorham here. Jules, you were in the gallery. You watched this. Kevin Lamoureux, a Liberal MP, said it was garbage, but we were saying that this will decimate the industry and Canadians' access to natural health products. What did you think?
I thought it was shocking to hear those words being used when we know very well that on these changing regulations and the legislation that was changed through the annex in the budget last year, that no gender-based analysis was done. So it's not garbage that women in this sector are going to lose their businesses and lose everything that they've worked for. It's not garbage. It's important, and this needs to go back to committee.
I will remind the member opposite that the Charter of Rights is not in place to protect the government from the people. It is in place to protect the people from the government.
And you have told everybody here that passports have gotten completely corrected. And I just want for the record to say that you had promised digital online renewals would be in place by the fall of 2024, which still has not happened.
We do not have a revenue problem in this country. We have a Prime Minister with a spending and corruption problem in this country. Yeah. You know the Liberals are losing real bad when they bring up abortion. We will never bring this up. And to that member opposite, if you're going to get up and talk about my reproductive rights, you better put a woman up and stop mansplaining to me.
Minister, on October 24th, there were a plethora of childcare operators who came to Ottawa from British Columbia, Ontario, and Alberta on their own dime, simply to be heard, but you did not meet with them. Why?
Thank you for the question. I meet regularly with childcare operators across this country. On that particular day, I can't tell you exactly what I was doing. I believe my staff perhaps met with them. I think it was the day before.
So that's just false. The organizer of that group wrote to you
saying that your staff absolutely did go outside, but instead to take photos, these are her words, within minutes of our meeting start time for the apparent purpose of further mocking, discrediting, and shaming those present on social media by questioning the group size.
House of Commons, every single day, you hear the Prime Minister and the Minister for Families, Children and Social Development tell you that the best thing they've ever done is $10 a day childcare. Well, I've got a lot of people here behind me and parents and operators who would tell you otherwise. Ladies, what do you have to say to the government? Yeah.
You know what that school food program is? $2.50 a kid. And you know what? There's no food in it. It's purely bureaucracy. If you don't fix this carbon tax and quit driving up the cost of food, you will never be able to feed families, do the right thing, make sense, and stop doing this nonsense marketing schemes that won't feed anyone.
This is absurd. Paul Bernardo, one of the world's worst monsters, murdered, raped women, Leslie Mahaffey, Kristen French. His parole hearing is coming up. And the victims' families, the mothers of these young girls that were murdered and raped and tortured, were denied the ability to go to the parole hearing. This isn't a privilege. This is a constitutional right. And they were denied the ability to attend the parole board hearing. Why? Because the parole board says it was a security issue. Oh, all of a sudden it's not a security issue because you've reversed the decision. Now you're saying they can attend after we publicly shamed you, after we called you out on it, after we said this is ridiculous, after their lawyer wrote to you and said this is absolutely absurd. Oh, but now they can attend.
Today, Carrie Lynn McClintock lives in a cozy townhouse with free access to the mother-child program. Yes, you heard that correctly. A child killer has free access to children in prison. In what universe is this okay? I'm asking every member in this House, please vote in support of these amendments. Let's strengthen our justice system and protect victims from domestic violence. Thank you.
I came out today to support every victim, being a victim myself of domestic violence.
Yeah. Any messages you want to say to somebody out there that's maybe in a relationship they think is a healthy, because they might not know any different? Anything you want to say?
I want to say stand strong, you're not alone, and reach out for help. There is help out there.
And what laws would you like to see done differently?
Harsher penalties.
Jail, not bail, eh?
Jail, not bail, and common sense laws.
Will you acknowledge Haley Schultz's letter in the murder of her son Bradley Pogue that I sent to you on December 5th? Will you read this if I walk it over to you, and will you acknowledge her?
There are certain things that confine my role. That matter is actually...
Can't pick up the phone, can you? On what date did the Minister of Justice publicly say that it is empirically unlikely that Canada is less safe? These are his words. On what day did he say it?
Minister?
Being Canadians safe is a priority for mine. That's why we're addressing things like gun violence. I was a bit shocked during the supplementary estimates vote when that member voted against $83 million of funding, which would have helped with guns and gangs.
The RO member?
Minister of Justice for Canada, folks, and he actually said that, and that was on July 31st, 2023.
Walking in what many people would know as like Byward Market in Ottawa, Rideau Street. And I've just walked by a gentleman who was unconscious and OD'd on the street. This opioid crisis is very, very real. And there's literally people dying on the street.
There is only one person responsible for keeping that Prime Minister in power, despite the genuine suffering and misery Canadians are having. And that is the leader of the NDP. It was just a week ago the Prime Minister stood on stage to tell women what a great feminist he is. And then today, we learned the Prime Minister told the first ever female finance minister to do as he says or lose her role. She resigned. Wow. Even the finance minister doesn't have confidence in the Prime Minister.
Don't give up hope. Pressure builds diamonds. 2025, here we come. We're going to bring it home if Pierre Poilievre is going to be the Prime Minister. And don't for 1 second let Jagmeet Singh try to trick you into telling you they just need another leader, that Justin Trudeau just needs to resign, because every single Liberal MP and every single NDP member let all of this chaos and all of this suffering happen. And they are responsible for how we got here because they let it happen. And we will fight them and we will stand with you for you. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.